So we're here this morning from St. Teresa's Catholic Primary School at 7 Stories to listen to a reading of Polonius the Pit Pony, written by Richard O'Neill and illustrated by Feronia Parker Thomas. Many years ago, ponies, like Polonius, worked below the ground, in coal mines, pulling heavy metal tubs filled with coal. Pit ponies spent most of the year in the mines, working and sleeping underground. But every year, the mines shut down for a holiday, and the ponies were brought up to eat fresh grass and breathe fresh air. They were always excited to be outside and were soon galloping and frolicking, enjoying their freedom. Polonius noted 2 big horses grazing near some caravans on the other side of the fence. As he got closer, he could see that they weren't tethered, and there were no fences keeping them in. "Why don't you run away?" he asked. "Why would we, little Gry?" said Cushy, puzzled. "We're part of a travelling family. We always have the best grass. We can drink from the river and swim in it when it's hot." "I wish I could join you," said Polonius. Cushy let out an amused whinny. "You're far too small to pull one of our heavy wagons or working carts. You'd only be good for pulling a tiny sulky at a horse fair." "Besides," snorted Thor, "there are no stables, even in the winter. You're nowhere near tough enough for a life of Jalin the Drum." After their break in the open air, it was time for the ponies to go back down the pit. None of them wanted to return to the dark and dusty mine, and rounding them up was hard work. "It's now or never," thought Polonius. In the commotion, he escaped through the gap in the fence. The travellers had moved on, but Polonius followed the horses' tracks and soon found their new camp next to a sawmill. When the children saw the pony, they leapt up and surrounded him. One of the girls, Lucretia, instantly fell in love. But Grandad frowned. "He's a pit pony," he said. "Just look at his mane and tail. He'll have to go back where he belongs." As soon as they walked back to the noisy pit yard, the little pony started to stamp his feet, buck and shy. "Shh," soothed Lucretia. Grandad found the horsekeeper, Brian, and explained what had happened. "He won't be any good for pit work now he's tasted freedom," said Brian. "Why don't you keep him? No charge." Grandad shook his head. "I don't need another animal to look after, my friend. A pony like him wouldn't be much use to us." "I'll even throw in a leather harness," Brian said. "I can't keep a pony that won't go down the pit." "Please, Grandad, I'll look after him," said Lucretia. "I'm sure he'll be useful somehow." "Oh, go on then," said Grandad. Polonius took to the travelling life straight away. He dealt with the winter cold and the days when food was scarce. No one had ever cared for him the way Lucretia did. When the day's work was finished, the family shared their stories around the fire, talking proudly about their horses. "Thor pulled a heavy cart full of alder logs today," said Jasper, "all the way up the hill from Harper's Vesh to the sawmill. The new truck got stuck in the muddy field. Luckily, Cushy pulled it out," said Leander. "Little Rosie tickled Polonius's nose today," laughed Lucretia, but he didn't make a fuss. Polonius was pleased that the family thought he was gentle, but he desperately wanted to be a hero like Cushy and Thor. The whole family was working on a huge order of painted alderwood stools that were going to be shipped to America. It was a big job, and the stools were only just finished on time. Everyone helped them load them onto Daddo's new truck, ready for him to drive to the docks the next day. "We'll set off early and stop halfway for some haben and a besh," said Daddo. "We should get to the docks in the afternoon," he added. "There'll be plenty of time to deliver the stools before the ship sails." The family slept soundly and woke at dawn as usual, but when Daddo came out of his caravan, he saw that a thick blanket of dense fog had descended on the valley. Grandad walked down the lane to see if it was as foggy away from camp. He returned looking worried. "I can hardly see a hand in front of me. There's no way I can risk driving the big truck on these narrow country roads in a fog this thick. One false move and we're off the road, or worse, the bridge," said Daddo. "Besides," added Grandad, "you'd have to drive so slowly you wouldn't get there in time anyway." Grandad tried to calm everyone down. "It's okay, we'll find a way. We always do. Let's load the stools onto my cart instead. Cushy or Thor can pull it." The family formed a chain and passed the stools down from the truck, making sure they were all safely stacked and roped onto Grandad's cart as quickly as possible. But the big horses were stamping their feet and flaring their nostrils. When Grandad tried to lead Cushy towards the cart, he wouldn't budge. The same thing happened with Thor. Now even Grandad was struggling to remain calm. "They're scared of the fog. What are we going to do?" "Polonius could pull the cart," said Lucretia. "He doesn't seem scared. If he could find his way down the pit, I'm sure he could find his way in the fog." Full of hope once more, they quickly put a harness on Polonius and backed him into the cart, but it was much too heavy for the little pony. Polonius, however, had a plan. He trotted over to Cushy and Thor. "We can do this together," he said. "If you pull the cart, I'll stay alongside and guide you." "Look," said Lucretia, "Cushy is following Polonius." The family watched in awe as the little pony encouraged the big horse to back into the cart. Polonius stood next to Cushy, nuzzling the trace hook. "Looks like Polonius is going to be our guide," laughed Grandad. "I think you'd better come too, Lucretia." So Grandad, Lucretia, the big horse and the little pit pony set off down the lane towards the main drum. Cushy was still scared, but Polonius was thrilled at the chance to take the lead. "Just keep calm and we'll be fine," Polonius told Cushy. "Trust me." Polonius used all his skills he'd learned in the pit. With his feet, ears and nostrils, he made sure they were all safe. The brave little pony talked Cushy through every step, explaining how he was finding the way. Grandad kept looking at his watch. He was worried they wouldn't make it to the docks on time. He knew he would have to let the horses stop for some water and haben soon. Lucretia squeezed his hand. "It'll be all right, Grandad." To their surprise and delight, the fog started to lift as they finished their haben. "Come on, we can do it," Polonius cried. Now Cushy could see more clearly. The wagon started to pick up speed. As the fog cleared even more, Grandad and Lucretia had to jump onto a cart in case they got left behind. "We can do it! Go as fast as you can," Polonius sang. The big horse started to pound the road faster and faster, her huge hooves beating out a furious rhythm. She kept the precious load safe, but it was like they were flying towards their destination. Soon they could hear the seagulls screeching. Their first sight of the docks was the huge metal cranes towering above them. "We're here!" shouted Lucretia joyfully. It didn't take them long to find the ship, unload the stools and get paid. "We did it. Thanks to you, Polonius," Cushy said admiringly. The following night, and for many nights to come, the only story told around the fire was of Polonius and the heroic journey to the docks. His story is still told to this day to remind people that what's important isn't your size, but the determination and courage that you show. And that was the first of 7 stories from 7 schools.